Hey, this is Miss Sebastian. We are going to look at problem solve with decimals. Okay, so we're going to solve some problems that have decimals in them. So number one, Danny paid a total of $13.65 for two steaks that weighed 65 hundredths of a pound and 75 hundredths of a pound. What was the average price per pound that Danny paid for the steaks? Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take our two amounts of steaks that he bought and add them together, because I want to know how many pounds of steak he got. So I'll make sure to line up my decimal, bring it straight down, and I'm going to start over here. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry a 1. 7 plus 6 is 13, plus 1 is 14, carry a 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. So he got 1 and 4/10 of a pound, or 40 hundredths. So I know that he paid $13.65 for that, so I'm going to divide that $13.65 by the amount of pounds he got, which was 1.40. Now I've got a decimal here, so I need to move it 2 spots, and I need to match it over here. So since I moved it 2 spots on the outside, I need to move it 2 spots on the inside. So 140 can't go into 136, so I'm going to have to go, okay, 140 goes into 1,365. I'm going to guess 9 times. Okay, and my decimal needs to be right there. There we go. So 9 times 0 is 0. 9 times 6 is 36. So I'm carrying 3. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 3 is 12. When I subtract, I get 5, 0, 1. Now I need to add a 0 there. Okay, so 140 can go into 1,050. Let's see, 140. So let's do 7 times. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry a 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 9. And when I subtract, I get 70. Add one more 0, because we want to get a price. So 140 goes into 700. I'm going to try 5 times. Okay, I ran into a little issue there. Okay, but I'm going to try 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20, so I'm carrying a 2. And 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So I did find my answer there, and it was $9.75 per pound. Okay, so one thing I do want you guys to notice is I kind of ran out of room right here, so make sure you're giving yourself some room to work these out. Okay, Michael biked 36 miles last week and 38.4 miles this week. What is the average of the two distances he biked? Okay, enter your answer in the box. So he did 36 miles and 38.4 miles. So I need to figure out how much total. So I'm just going to add these. 6 plus 8 is 14. Carry a 1. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And to find the average, I'm just going to divide that by the number of days that they gave us. Okay, or the number of weeks. They gave us 2. So I'm going to divide 2 into 74.4. When you start, remember to take the decimal straight up. 2 goes into 7 3 times. Okay, 3 times 2 is 6. When I subtract, I get 1, and then I bring down the 4. 2 goes into 14 7 times. 7 times 2 is 14. Get 0 and I bring down the last 4. 2 goes into 4 2 times. So the average he did was 37.2. Okay, and that is miles. Number 3, George bought a phone card that had 120 minutes of phone use on it. The first week he had 37.7 minutes. The second week he used 12.7 minutes. The third and fourth week he used 31.9 minutes each week. How many minutes of phone use does George have left? So, I know that he had 120 minutes. Now you could do this several different ways. You could say, okay, 120 minus this, minus this, minus this, and this. Okay, you could do it that way. You could add up all 4 numbers and then subtract the total from 120, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to say, okay, the first week he used 37.7. The next week he used 12.7. Then the third he used 31.9, and the fourth he used 31.9. So I'm going to add those up first. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 9 is 23, plus 9 is 32. Okay, so 3 plus 7 is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Bring my decimal straight down. I don't want to forget it. Carry that 1. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So, he's used 114 and 2/10 minutes so far. So, he had 120. I'm going to go ahead and put 0.0 there so that I make sure that my decimals are lined up. Remember, that's the most important thing when you're subtracting, is lining those decimals up. Okay, and I have to borrow here because 0 can't subtract 2. I need to subtract from 10. So I got to borrow from this 0, but it didn't have enough. So I'm going to have to borrow all the way from this 2 here. So it gives 10 to here, but then this one has to give 1 over here. Okay. So 10 minus 2 is 8. Bring the decimal down. 9 minus 4 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. So my answer is 5 and 8/10 minutes left. Okay, let's look at number 4. Wes has a piece of land with the side lengths 36.2 meters, 41.6 meters, 39.4 meters, and 31.2 meters. He also has 150 meters of tape to mark the boundaries of the land. After Wes marks the land, how much tape will he have left? So I am going to add these up just like we did in the problem before. So I'm going to say 36.2, 41.6, 39.4, and 31.2. Okay, so I'm going to add these up. 2 plus 6 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Bring down the decimal. 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 1 is 8, plus 9 is 17, plus 1 is 18. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11, plus 3 is 14. Okay, he had 150 meters to begin with, and I'm going to subtract 148 and 4/10 from it. I need to add this decimal here to make sure that those are lined up. I'm going to have to borrow because 0 can't subtract 4. Can't borrow from that 0 yet. I'm going to have to borrow from the 5. It's going to become 4. This one becomes 10 to hand 1 over to here. Okay, and now this one's 9 because it was 10. It gave 1 away. So 10 minus 4 is 6. Bring down my decimal. 9 minus 8 is 1. 4 minus 4 is 0. So 1.6 meters of tape left. Number 5. Joe earned $130 one week and $125.50 the next week. After depositing these amounts in his account, he had a total of $335. How much was already in his account before he deposited the $130 and the $125.50? So what we're going to do is we're going to say $130 plus the $125.50, and we're going to add those up. Remember, the $130 has those two decimals. We just leave those off. Okay, so we're going to add. Okay, now he had $335 in his account after those. We want to know how much he had before. So I have to subtract. So I'm subtracting the total I just got. Now remember, I have to borrow here. So when I borrow, okay, 10 minus 0. Oh, sorry. This becomes 10. We didn't have to borrow here. 0 minus 0 is 0. 10 minus 5 is 5. Uh-oh, 4 minus 5, we can't do that. So I'm going to have to borrow from here and make this a 2, and that makes this a 14. 14 minus 5 gives me 9. 2 minus 5, uh-oh, can't do that. I got to borrow again. So that makes this a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So Joe had $79.50 in his account previously. Okay, number 6. Maggie spent 3.5 hours working on her science project, 126 minutes doing her math assignments, and 2 hours working on an English assignment. How long did she spend in all on the schoolwork? In all means that I'm going to be adding. Okay, but what I notice is these 3 are written in different forms. They're not all in minutes, they're not all in hours. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is make sure that they're all in the same type of units. Okay, so I think that it would be the easiest to put them all in minutes. So 3.5 hours, I'm going to multiply that by 60 minutes because I know that there are 60 minutes in every hour. So 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 3 is 0. When I go to the next line, I'm going to be multiplying the tens place, so I've got to put this 0 here as a placeholder. 6 times 5 is 30, so I'm carrying 3. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 is 21. Okay, and I've got that. There was 1 decimal in my problem, so there's 1 decimal in my answer. So 3.5 hours is 210 minutes. So far I've got that one. Now I'm going to do the same thing for 2 hours. Now this one you may be able to do in your head. 60 minutes times 2 hours is 120 minutes. Okay, so now I'm going to take all my amounts. I've got 210, 126, and 120, and I'm going to add them together. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is 6. 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. 2 plus 1 plus 1 is 4. So my answer is asking for minutes, so it is 456 minutes. Okay, number 7. A sports jersey costs $28. Customizing the jersey with a player's name cost an additional $13.50. What is the total cost for 5 customized jerseys? So you've got 2 ways to do this. You could figure out how much each jersey cost, and then so 28 times 5 plus 13.5 times 5, and add those together. But I want to find out the total amount of the jerseys, and then I'm going to multiply by 5. So I'm going to find the total first. So $28 plus $13.50 because each player's jersey is going to cost this much. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. Bring down the decimal. 8 plus 3 is 11. Carry a 1. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So each player's jersey is going to cost $41.50. So when I multiply, 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm carrying that 2. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. 5 times 4 is 20. My multiplier has 2 numbers after the decimal, so in my answer I'm going to have 2 numbers after the decimal. So for all 5 jerseys, it's going to be $207.50. Okay, number 8. Susan spent $247.87 on new clothes and shoes for the summer. She bought 2 pairs of shoes that were each $45. How much money did Susan spend on the new clothes? So we've got $247.87, and she bought a pair of shoes that was $45. So when I subtract, I get $202.87, but she bought 2 pairs. So I'm going to subtract $45 again. So 7 minus 0 is 7. 8 minus 0 is 8. Bring down the decimal. 2 minus 5, uh-oh, can't do that. Okay, 12 minus 5 is 7. 9 minus 4 is 5. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So we find out that she spent $157.87 on new clothes.